Claire Jordan, she's one of the people in this situation here in Tillamook that, she didn't keep her word. But what she did do is give me useful information on the services around here and about how no bueno they are. She warned me about going to these services, which, well, I didn't actually need the warning. What I needed was for somebody to get informed and go in with me, so I didn't have to do it alone, so I wasn't blown off. The experiences that she had at these places mirrored my own. Now, she does explain that as a pretty blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl, that she is entitled here in the United States to more than I am, or more than really any other man for that matter. She admits that, and yet still, she still has to go through much of the same things because of assumptions. Because Claire is autistic, that's held against her and used against her as if she's a horrible and violent monster, which I'm not sure how much you paid attention, but she's not violent. She is definitely not violent. If she wanted to be violent, there are at least 3 occasions where she was pissed off enough that most of the women that I know would have gotten violent over such a situation, and she absolutely didn't. By violent, I'm not talking about yelling or screaming and shouting. Yeah, that definitely affects PTSD. But also, we get PTSD from how you treat us. You treat us differently, and it starts in our youth. When you find out that we're developing differently. Like, yeah, sure, you wanted your kids to talk early. They might have started talking late and never shut up. The reason for that is because you had a very special child, and I don't mean special like special ed. I mean, your child was born brilliant. But you're not going to listen to them because they're different. They interact differently. And most of the things that force us to interact differently are your opinions. What Claire had to say about the cops here was spot on. What she had to say about TFCC was spot on. She was absolutely right. As far as helping hands goes, you know, I made phone call after phone call to a lot of different places. Many of the places that I went, they actually cut me off from calling by saying that they'd already called, like TFCC and CARE. Now, Claire, she was pretty honest. Why is that? Because she's autistic, duh. She realizes how it could be used to harm her, but she doesn't see it that way. She doesn't see that anybody with any sort of morality would do any such a thing. And we're not really blindsided when that happens to us. We're not really blindsided when it turns out that somebody is less honest with us than they'd claim. Much of the issue that I had with Claire is her not understanding that we're all in this together and we need to work together. She did want to work together to some degree, but only on her stuff. And when she finally did make the time to actually sit down with me, we were up in the mountains, did not have access to any of the evidence. And she ended up getting drunk. Now, was she drunk when we spoke? No. Matter of fact, she was only drunk once. The entire time she was here, I only saw her drunk once. It was just that one night. Now, that doesn't make her a bad person because she got drunk. I know lots of people who get drunk, and I don't call them all bad people just because they get drunk. Now, if they do bad things when they're drunk, I'm going to point out the fact that they did bad things. I'm also going to point out the fact they were drunk when they did it. Claire did some things to me that were not exactly good things to do to a person. She intentionally misled me. Isn't that what I'm supposed to say? She intentionally misled me? No, she was stuck all up in her feels. It's different. There's a lot of people that wanted to hide like rats because they didn't want anybody to know that they were involved in the situation before Natalie was killed. Claire was not a part of the situation before Natalie was killed. She was a part of the situation starting here in Tillamook. Guess where she was when Natalie was killed? Claire Jordan was in Colorado when Natalie was killed. Where's Claire Jordan from? Colorado. Anyway, I'm at the library now. I was supposed to be here at 9 as per the instructions from the library I spoke with last night. I just wish I could remember her name. I don't think I asked it though. I think I might have asked it before, but I'm terrible with names. I'm supposed to be here at the library at 9 o'clock. It is actually a couple of minutes past, I think now. Let me see. 9:03. Yeah, so more than a couple. So I am going inside. The lady I'm supposed to speak with, hopefully she'll be able to help how I need. Only having a space for a few hours, not being able to carry everything in. You know, there's a lot that's going on right now that makes it impossible for me to get many of the things I need to get done actually done. A lot of the abuses by the police, their neglect and negligence, that does need to be turned in, but I can't turn it in alone. I can't even process the evidence alone. All because of abuse by the Bollinger family and by a bunch of web wingnuts after she was killed. Nobody wants to pay any attention to the fact that while I was stalked by multiple people, both men and women, my so-called friends wanted to hide like rats. They wanted to scurry like cockroaches. So, are they really my friends? Claire Jordan, she was trying to get together with Casey. They both dated for a tiny bit, enough for her to get a hold of me on her way out of town. Tell me that she was going to come back and help me, but did she come back and help me? No, she didn't. Matter of fact, she just went missing. And that freaks me out. There's also the fact that because I'm a disabled adult, well, you ignore my disabilities and go, oh, well, you're an adult. You know what? If an adult has their legs cut off, and you expect them to run a 100-yard dash or 100-yard high hurdles with no legs because they're an adult, you're a fucking idiot. My disabilities don't magically show up and then disappear based on your fucking opinion. But you don't want to hear that. You're too used to talking down to us like we're retards. We get tired of being talked over because that right there shows us you have zero respect for us whatsoever. When our experience means nothing, only your opinions. Kind of like Chris Stafford, the dumb cunt. Oh God, did I just say that word about a dude? I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be sexist, aren't I? I called a lot of people that word. But I'm not sexist. I don't actually care who I call that word. It doesn't matter what their gender is to me. What matters to me is how they treat others. If you treat others badly and I am treating you badly, you've earned it. You do not earn my respect. It is my disrespect which is earned. So if you have earned my disrespect, perhaps you should ask yourself what you have done to earn that disrespect. Most of you don't need to ask yourselves that, though. You already know. Many of you knew the day was coming that you were going to end up on the internet. It's not like you didn't have a choice. You could either come forward with me about what you knew, or I could come forward on the internet about what you knew. I never wanted to put people on the internet. I never wanted to post that shit up. I just wanted to be left the hell alone, which is apparently too much to understand for most. That's absolutely amazing. I got a ball of urine here, and you can actually see the nitrates in your urine. Those nitrates, you can mix certain chemicals like dirt with your urine, and you can actually get that out of it, extract it out. I've been repeatedly lied to over and over again everywhere I go, being told that if I move, then there's places that are supposed to help me once I move, and this program's federal, and that program's federal, so somebody has to do something as soon as I get to the next place. But meanwhile, after thousands of calls like that, no, I don't believe a single goddamn person. When every person that I have encountered has shown sexism in such an abhorrent way, or complete and total selfishness, y'all aren't easy to handle. It's not easy being in the world where people just assume the worst in you because of wives' tales. Is Claire Jordan some crazy fucking nut out to destroy everybody's life? No. She's somebody who's got complex post-traumatic stress disorder. With CPTSD, I just call it PTSD. It's frequent and ongoing is the problem. Being blown off by the courts, being blown off by the police. It's just horrible. But you guys got your opinions, and your opinions matter more than the facts. There's people who are friends of mine from the LGBT community who are so incredibly selfish as to pretend that a hetero could never be harmed. Nobody would ever harm a heterosexual. But you know what? When it comes down to bullying, I've been bullied a lot for being a heterosexual by my LGBT friends. I've also been bullied a lot for being a homosexual by my straight friends. I've also been bullied for being gay by my gay friends. And I've been bullied for being straight by my straight friends. And meanwhile, it just turns into a bunch of bullying. And of course, I'm evil if I bully back. Well, I bully back, so I must be evil. When I see you beating on a dog, I'm gonna say something. I might scare the living hell out of you. You parents out there, if I see your kids beating on a dog, what are the chances that I'm going to yell at your kids if you don't? They're pretty good. That's one thing that I'm not going to tolerate is animal cruelty. If your kid's being a bully, yeah, I'll stand up to your kid. I'll stand up to your husband too. I'm also intelligent, which means that I'm not just going to stand toe to toe with a fucking brick shithouse. I'm not a fucking moron. Claire's not a moron either. She did make some very moronic decisions, however. And how dare I say that? Well, it doesn't matter, does it? She's not here. She's not here to defend herself. She's also not here to protect herself. Although she has nothing to fear from me except my mouth. Just like every other predator. Oh, wait. All these predators have to worry about my evidence too. Was Claire intentionally predatory towards me? I don't think so. I don't think she did anything towards me maliciously until she actually left. My personal belief is that most of her screw-ups are just that. They're screw-ups. Lots of people screw up. It's the nature of being human. We're not perfect. And even if we are perfect, we're not perfect to everybody because everybody's different. Claire was absolutely right about TFCC. She was absolutely right about jumping through the hoops. She was absolutely right about care. She was absolutely right about all of the services in town. But then again, she had experience with this town. And I now have experience with this town. And it ain't much different from any other town in America. You blame the victims. If somebody is victimized to the point that they have a mental breakdown, you just blame them. Tell them that they were acting inappropriately. Oh, you don't think people threatening to kill us and our friends and family is inappropriate? You don't think being assaulted is inappropriate? You don't think that police officers taking part in assaulting an innocent man, you don't think that's inappropriate? Claire hasn't had to go through a lot differently. But even she admitted that a man's got it worse. A man is more likely to be hurt out here, right? Isn't that what you try to sell? No. Men are far less likely to be hurt. There are all sorts of services to help women out here. How many of these services actually help out men? And how many of them send us on a wild goose chase? Let's take a look at Claire's situation. Why was she denied services that nearly every woman in America is supposedly eligible for? Well, because like me, she's both autistic and homeless. For most of us, our support networks never take the time to try to get to know us or understand us. Is Claire really autistic? Yeah, actually, she is. She actually makes the connection between her situation and her abuse. She's not one of those autistic people who goes along with the belief that we all freak out for nothing. There's lots of us that you expect us to make that one reparation. If you harm us until we have a mental breakdown, you guys don't want to admit that you had any part of that mental breakdown. You want us to take not only responsibility for the breakdown, but you also want us to pretend that you did nothing wrong. And that is absolutely not the case. That's fucking gross. There's a lot of people here that you'll have problems telling the difference between the two. Thank goodness, for the most part, people are honest about it. A lot of the drug addicts out here, they're angry that they were recorded admitting to being drug addicts. The problem is, I shouldn't have had to do that. It's time for me to go inside. I'm late, which sucks. Good morning. That's not gonna happen. It's well past 9 o'clock. I'm sorry, I'm late.
You're okay, no worries. I did get approval to give you the room for the day today. Angela said we can do it one more time, so a total of 2 full days. If that works well for you, we're good to go.
It's better than none. I'll take it.
Right? Very welcome. Oh, she did also say that if we end up filling up and we need to have the room later in the day, then there may be that conversation.
At least
It's
I'm expecting
unlikely.
it, and I'll know that I'm not.
Right. I forgot that part, but yes, it's unlikely because the rest of the room's not booked, so I think we'll be okay today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. What was your name again?
It's Marissa.
Marissa. I'm Sean.
Yes.
Thank you. This was kind of complicated to get set up and to have happen. They'll allow me to do this one more time. So let's try to save it. Before we get started, I'm gonna need to plug my stuff in and also go downstairs and grab some more. I'm thankful for other people in my life that are complete and total screw-ups. I'm thankful for people that have made mistakes. I'm thankful for people who didn't understand and who did very harmful things because they didn't understand. While I'm thankful for them, they exist. And a lot of them did actually try in at least some way. Maybe it wasn't in a useful way. And if they'd have listened, it would have been in a useful way. Or if they'd paid attention to what was going on or the words that come out of my mouth, maybe we could have gotten something started sooner. Now, the problem that we have here is that a lot of people have assumptions of autism, assumptions of Tourette syndrome, assumptions of men, assumptions of the homeless, assumptions of whites. I don't have to live up to your stereotypes. I know the people that do. And we, as a society, don't have very nice things to say about them, do we? We don't like bigots, and I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but I am a massive hypocrite. When people tell me something is okay and just to get over it and just to ignore it, and they've never actually had a real stalker, never had people really get a hold of them to try to make their lives hell. You can always tell. If I make one comment, they will flip their wig. And if I chop them into little pieces and fed them to their dog, or as if I had sold their children into slavery or some craziness like that. People are dumb. Plan accordingly. Wizard's first rule: nobody is above being fooled. There are different factors that come into all that, isn't there? Factors like your age, whether or not your disabilities, are something that people can see, what gender you are. A lot of women, you know, will choose right and wrong based on the gender of the person making the claim. Men, same way. Most men will automatically take a woman's side. Most women will automatically take a woman's side. If they take sides. There's a lot of people that don't take sides, and that's mostly with men. It's also mostly with people who are less good looking. Now, I, as an artist, I'm aware of what it is that human beings find attractive. Physically, anyway. Mentally, nearly all of you are attracted to abuse. The people I see that are the most prone to being abusive are women. The people who are the most prone, from my observation, the most prone to choose somebody who is abusive are actually women. A lot of men, they tend to choose somebody who's nice and sweet, and then the moment that she has what she believes is control, it all changes. There's a lot of women I know who fantasized about getting married since they were wee-high to a grasshopper. Then later on they got their opportunity to get married, and it wasn't all they thought it would be. The story of all of our lives, isn't it? No such thing as perfection. Alright. Getting some of my stuff plugged in. Hopefully they don't get full later on. If it does end up full and I gotta go, well, that's just the way life goes. Christ, I didn't even know that though. Let's get back to the situation with Claire Jordan and why that's so important. It's so important because she's a human being. She's also someone who's witnessed some of the situations here. Let me show you just a small collection of my evidence here. Telephone, telephone, telephone. This is the telephone I had when I was assaulted by Robert Franklin Mornick. That's a video recording thing, and that's a dash camera. Anyway, I need to go downstairs and go get some more stuff out of my car. This stuff all needs to charge, so I might run across the street and get myself some coffee. Looks good on me.
mechanism that we all learn how to do. And pretty soon that's all we do.
And it's unfortunate. It's a safety mechanism, but it ends up hurting us in the long run.
It does.
Really quietly, right over there. It's really super nice. Now we talked libraries in 1980s. Alright, so I just realized how much pain I'm actually in right now. I'm gonna have to make a short walk before I'm able to actually work on anything. Otherwise I'm gonna seize up and freeze up, and that's just not cool. Taking my stuff in there yesterday, I had it in my head that cart was going to be a lot more useful than it was, but it was pretty decently useful. I mean, I definitely would not have gotten it up the stairs yesterday. My computer and my backpack, or not the stairs, but into the building yesterday if I had to carry it on my back. For a second, I was like, all right, I could probably handle this. I could probably carry it today. And then it just, when your back hates you, it hates you. I'm not sure if any of you have had severe muscle fatigue. It sucks. A lot of times that comes from back injuries, but it depends on the type of fatigue. I know that when I stopped being able to use the screed board, it lasted about 3 weeks. And I was running a screed board when I ended up hurting my back. Now, it wasn't some sort of a permanent injury, but it laid me up for a bit. And after that incident, well, it just became a little bit more prevalent and a little more frequent. I'd end up with my back having some severe problems maybe once every year or two. But then as I got progressively older, it got progressively whiny, progressively painful.
How you doing?
Still breathing, thanks for asking. Looks like they gave you the fun job today. I always loved working outside. A lot of people told me, hey man, you're smart. You ever think about becoming an artist? I'm already an artist. What do you mean become one? Dreamers dream and builders build. But it takes an artist to bridge the gap. Lucky me, I'm all three. There's quite a few people through the situation that were a lot like Claire. They're aware that things do not work right, and yet sent me to places that, well, she knew that they weren't going to work. She'd already told me stories about how these places weren't going to work. She also told me that I needed to go to those places anyway, because that's where we're sent here in Tillamook County. And we got these people so up in arms, they don't want no nasty hobos coming in and eating up all their resources. The thing is, my disability, I get it. whether you are an asshole in Tillamook or an asshole in Denver, Colorado, it doesn't matter where you're an asshole. I can't turn off my disabilities just to make you happy. It'd be nice, wouldn't it? You know, wouldn't it be nice if you could snap your fingers and give childbirth without pain? Wouldn't it be nice if you could snap your fingers and get rid of all the bad people at once? We got a lot of delusional things that, well, you would think that people are rational, but the delusional things that come out of their faces, it's scary. I lost my train of thought back there. The reason I lost my train of thought is because I saw a downhill slope, and that might seem odd to you, but the reason that it was drawing my attention is because there was a little bit of breeze and a little bit of the little truck bay there, and it was blowing some of the garbage uphill, and it had a cool effect. It just looked cool. Nothing real special about it. I don't remember what I was talking about in this video other than the situation with Claire and with Casey. The thing is, Claire was hoping maybe by herself she's screwed, but if she's going out with somebody, maybe they'll put up with a little more, help a little bit more. And I know a lot of women who have done that. I've known a couple of women who ended up dating lawyers because they didn't have the money for a real lawyer and didn't think that they would get heard because the father of the kids had a really good job. Obviously, I am not sexist when it comes to blame. When it comes to children, they come first. Children are the most important. There's a few people that wanted to hide behind their kids in this situation after they did some pretty horrendous things. The fact that they use their kids in such a way is even worse. That's even worse than beating on your kid. You use your kids in that way. I know both men and women who do evil and horrible things because they didn't get their way, because they think that their gender is better, or that gender bias is better, or they're just better people than the other person. For a lot of you, what it comes down to is you didn't care about each other, you cared about getting laid. You cared about looks. You cared about something that your brain is wired to care about. Now, as far as Claire, yeah, she wanted to get her kids back. She was hoping if she coupled up, then it would happen quicker. It does happen quicker when you couple up. If you're actually coupled up, but when the person that you're with has their own ambitions and it doesn't involve your kids, yeah, they're probably not going to help you get your kids back. You might end up in the mountains for 2 weeks going, God, there's got to be something else going on. I want to get home to my fucking kids. I want my kids to know their mom loves them. Yeah. But she got all tied up. She had good intentions and fell on top of a penis instead. Still had good intentions. Of that fact, there is no doubt. There's a lot of people that did have good intentions in the beginning, but then when they realized the repercussions, it was different. Or once they finally decided to take a look, realized that I was telling the truth and that this wasn't an overreaction. Yeah, it makes absolute sense why they would look the other way. You are cute, and I'm going to give you that, and I can tell that that's a come touch me bark, but I'm not going to come touch you. Your owner's not here. Now that one is a little bit more deep. What was that one from? So I picked up a cigarette. a little too close to the vehicle. However, that dog is doing its job. You know the difference between doing your job and being a Nazi? When it comes to Claire, she did a lot of things that are useful, and she also warned me about the right places. She let me know which places to look out for, and unfortunately, it's all of them. Bless you. You better take care when I find you reaching around my back stairs. Well, I just got myself a pamphlet about the Sikhs, educational materials. I like learning. I don't know how many of you are suffering from the same affliction, the want to know everything about the universe. What's the answer to the universe and everything? Well, I don't know. Make a computer. Whose favourite movie is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? My stepdad used to tell me I needed to read that book. Of course, everything that you need to learn from the entire book is actually on the front cover. 2 words: don't panic. Then again, we don't live in that world, do we? World of fantasy. Ooh. Obviously, there's no alien spaceship coming to take us away. Ha ha, hee hee, ho ho, hoo hoo. There's a lot of stuff that I say and do that you don't understand, but that mostly comes down to you not trying to understand. Down to you believing that you know better than everybody else. I know well enough to listen to the community around me. I also listen well enough. Thank you, sir. I also listened well enough to know that many of these agencies are busy blaming each other. On the bright side, there are people who work at these places. People like Nicole Vertner, who is aware that the system is screwed and isn't being utilized in a proper fashion. Brian doesn't really hide the fact that he's an addict. And that's one of the issues with many of these places. They're sending me to drug addicts for help. Claire could have helped with her own trauma and being exploited for her disabilities in the same way. Losing her kids. Yeah, I'm sure that didn't put her in a good place mentally. Ah, I found a stone. Music soothes the savage beast. But solved. What light up yonder window breaks? 'Tis the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief that thou, her maid, art far more beautiful than she. O Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Did I thy father refuse thy name, or if thou wilt not be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet? Entertaining? Maybe for a few seconds. Some of you might have gotten annoyed by the crone's voice. Some of you might be aggravated at my annoying, fake-ass accent. Some of you might have found some entertainment in it. There's a lot of little ditties. Oh my God, yes. Pum 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 ba-dum pum ba-dum. somebody with a Subaru, but their Subaru, instead of having the Subaru symbol on the front, it's the Galactic Empire symbol on the front. From Star Wars, obviously. Well, 475 NQL. The lady who's driving that vehicle is, well, one of the quote-unquote nice people here who really didn't do nice things. You don't get to bully me and have me say nothing. So the last time that I went to the Seventh-day Adventist Parish portion of the church property, it was specifically to get a picture of her. A lot of people want to argue with me over people's names. And if I show them a picture, then I can remove all doubt.
Oh, it was making my eyes water.
Yeah, we need to be able to see that.
Do you think you guys can come and take a look at the water until then?
Oh,
Oh, you guys smell it?
yeah, it's that, Sarah. All right.
All right.
What is it?
It's gasoline.
I think
As soon as this guy's done, I'm gonna have to shut it down and clean it out. So about
This one here too. I'll finish up both these guys.
right,
30 minutes, 45?
Rope it off.
Might actually
maybe
take
about
longer.
an hour to be
Go get
honest.
some caution tape or something and get out there with
got
caution
the
tape.
address and all on the show and
Smells like two-stage, actually. It's got an oily smell to it, so probably somebody who used one of their bottles to hold their two-cycle oil before putting it in a chainsaw. It's actually a pretty common and frequent thing on construction sites where you're having to do premixes. So yeah, the chances of them having somebody who mixed their two-cycle oil and then threw the bottle away and somebody pulled it out and decided to recycle it. Anyway, I'm gonna go sit in my car for a couple of minutes before I start carrying stuff upstairs. And drink a little bit of my coffee. Obviously, I am a big fucking doucher. You don't get to threaten to kill my friends and family and have me say nothing and do nothing. Enough of my friends are dead and gone now. However, verifiably so. That I would actually, if I so choose, be legally within my rights and limitations to go on a hunting spree and kill all my predators. Now, why don't I do things like that? Because killing is wrong. Duh. You guys are frustrated and angry and you want to vent by talking about killing people. First of all, we're not fucking sick in the head like you stupid shits. And second of all, when we speak up about you violent shits, you always tend to play victim. Oh, I'm a scared. I'm a scared. This person whose life you threatened to kill, now you're scared of him. Well, why'd you threaten to kill me, you piece of shit? Because you didn't get what you wanted right when you wanted it. Because after procrastinating and getting a lot of people hurt, you didn't want to take responsibility for your actions or decisions. Oh, I get it. When I say, yeah, that whole hypocrisy stuff is for the birds, that I'm willing to spend the rest of eternity in hell, well, those aren't jokes. I don't believe in hell, but if there is one, yeah, I'm fairly certain that's where I'll be going when I die. If it's, of course, the Christian hell. Because I'm not a Christian. I like Claire. She knows I'm not interested in sex. She also understands the not being interested in sex situation. The problem with sending somebody with PTSD to somebody else with PTSD for help when we're supposed to go to mandated reporters is that now we're overwhelming somebody else who's not getting paid to help us, probably cannot take care of themselves in their current situation, and professionals want to pawn us off onto these people. Not okay. Oh my god, my fucking back is killing me. Buy me a new back. Oh wait, it doesn't work, does it? I've been to the Circle K. They didn't have a back today. Obviously, that was supposed to be satire and a little bit of comedy. There's actually no Circle K here in Tillamook that I'm aware of. Claire did warn me that these places were going to talk over me. She did apologize because the only places that she had to send me are places that I'd been already. She also didn't register how important it is to go in with someone else. How easy you are to blow off alone. Because see, police officers, when they don't want to do their jobs, you know, all that good cop, bad cop crap, well, it just becomes bad cop, bad cop. They don't want to do their jobs, and you're not important to them. It happens.